Steel Curtain Network.
Touchdown! Touchdown para Calvin Austin! El Monte Washington es arma. ¿Quién más? ¿Quién más? DJ Watt!
What is up, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, and welcome to another episode of the Steelers Preview. Had some new intro music there. Hope you enjoyed that. Yep. I know I did. Joining me, as always, I'm Jeff Hartman, Dave Schofield, and Bryan Davis. Dave, what's up?
Not too much. I just finally said, you know what? I'm going to buckle down and do it. Give us that new intro music with some nice sound clips from this season. So if you're joining us late, hopefully you can go back and check that out later.
Absolutely. Bryan, what's up?
Man, they were really too fast in there because I didn't understand any of them except for TJ Watt. So that's all I understood. I don't know what's up with my brain. It's just not firing on all cylinders. But let's talk Steelers. I'm feeling groovy, guys.
I listen to those clips so much on Twitter that my 6-year-old has learned some Spanish from them. She'll say "Interceptable para Pittsburgh," and I'm like, "There you go." Who needs Duolingo when you got these guys on the call? But anyways,
that's how. 40 years ago, that's how Mario Lemieux learned English. He watched soap operas and The Price is Right. That's true.
Well, there you go. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers as they get ready for the New York Jets. I almost said New Jersey because they're basically in New Jersey in Week 7 on Sunday Night Football. And the title of this podcast is it's still Steelers versus Jets in Week 7 on Sunday Night Football. And the reason why I titled that, and yes, I was the one that pitched it to the other two, like, hey, what about this? Everyone has been talking about one thing this week, and it's not the Jets. It's not Sunday Night Football. It's not a chance to go to 5-2. It's all been about the quarterback. It's been Russell Wilson. It's been Justin Fields. And both of those individuals spoke today to the media on Thursday. But I wanted to we'll talk about that. We will talk about the Wilson Fields situation. But I wanted to bring this back and focus on the fact that this is the preview show for the upcoming game. And let's talk about the Jets and let's talk about this game. Dave, when you think about this game, Jets Steelers Week 7 primetime, what are your thoughts just in general?
Let's see. First thought is, oh, great. Another late night post-game show. But no, it won't be as bad as last time, hopefully. I think the weather should be much better. But actually, more the one I also think about is, you mean I got to wait around all day for the Steelers to not play until 8 o'clock, just like that was a couple weeks ago? That's my first reaction. There's so much that I think about before I actually get to their opponent. So that's why I really liked your title today, because it's still Steelers versus Jets. And bottom line is, when I think Jets, when you think of it historically, it's a completely different thought than what's going on now, because even though they're only 2-4, even though they've been struggling at times, you know that Aaron Rodgers could just do different things at any moment. So therefore, you have to be like, oh man, is something going to happen where this great Steelers defense is going to get, somehow they find it to be picking it apart. I mean, my goodness, if Joe Flacco can do it, you got to think Aaron Rodgers can. Right. So that's my biggest concern about it, is I'm just like, it's really just about Rodgers and weapons, when really the biggest thing that I should be concerned about is that Jets defense.
True. What about you, Bryan? What do you think about this upcoming game this Sunday night?
All right. First things first, when I was a kid, I would look at the schedule when it came out, and I would be so excited when they had a Thursday night game, a night game. Then in 1987, when they started with all the Sunday night games, I thought it was incredible. It was awesome. Now I dread it. And I dreaded it before we started doing stuff. Now it just I hate it. I mean, I just absolutely hate it because I know I'm going to be up late. I was offered tickets to this game, and I'm like, no, I don't think I'm going to do another night game so soon. Yeah. But I'm scared of this game, and I'm scared of this game for a lot of reasons. I wasn't scared about this game 2 weeks ago, and I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. It has nothing to do with Devante Adams being a Jet. It has nothing to do with that. Probably has a little bit more to do with Aaron Rodgers, but Dave hit the nail on the head, because not just is that front 7 and that front 4 just brutal. Is it a front, or are they a 3-4 team or a 4-3 team? I can't even remember. I think they're a 4-3 team. So but that front is just
that front line. Just say that.
Quinn and Williams. I mean, they are brutal. And the where it turned for me was Zach Frazier going out. And then the combination of Zach Frazier and not the get out of jail free legs of Justin Fields. And now we don't know what's going to happen, but a lot of people are still thinking that number 3 comes out of that tunnel as the starting quarterback. And if that happens, I just think this is some weird recipe for disaster this week, especially coming off a win where they scored 32 points. I feel like it's a downer game, and I'm scared to death.
That's fair. You know, I've read an article. It's every Friday. It's a feature article. I like this. It's my favorite article, right? It's called The Jig Is Up. And yes, that's a part of the lyrics to the song Renegade by Styx. And it runs every Friday. So check it out tomorrow when it publishes. A section of that article is about Devante Adams, and it's about the Jets. And let me ask you guys this question, because I try to walk myself through this as I write the article. I could see this throwing a wrench in the Jets offense, because you know darn well that Aaron Rodgers is going to want to get his buddy Devante Adams the football early and often. And I wonder if it would almost be, it's almost going to be force fed to the point where it's a detriment to everyone else. You know, Garrett Wilson is a tremendous talent. And yes, he's going to be going up against a cornerback too. So in this case, Dante Jackson. But if all they're worried about is getting Devante Adams the football, and then are they just going to be pass happy? Are they going to ignore Breece Hall in the backfield?
Hope so.
I feel, yeah, I hope so too. But I feel like this addition might take some time to get acclimated, and that might benefit the Steelers. But I don't know. What do y'all think? Dave, what do you think about Adams joining the Jets?
It's a big unknown. It's one of those things where you're like, it could come out and be like, nothing happens at all. Well, it takes some time to get acclimated, and they haven't played together for a couple of years, so it's not just as easy as you think. Or it's going to be that story on Monday morning. Oh, they finally get back together on the same field with Rodgers and Adams, and look at what they were able to do as soon as they got back together.
Yeah.
You know, I could see it going either way. There is so much with this game that I could see going either way that I don't really know what to think.
Yeah. Bryan, any thoughts about Adams? I know you said it's not all about Devante Adams, but your thoughts on him now being a member of the Jets?
He could be a game wrecker, just like Santonio Holmes ended up catching 2 in that AFC Championship game against the Steelers. He caught 2 touchdown passes in that game. You know, there's big weapons are a big deal when they come in, and I don't think they do miss a beat. But that wasn't the reason I brought that up, because that's not why I turned the corner. It was the other things. But this is a big, giant green cherry on top for the New York Jets, and this is a big deal, a big acquisition. I wanted the Pittsburgh Steelers to acquire Devante Adams. I don't want to be one of those guys that's saying, they didn't need him. He's overrated. No, we wanted him. When I say we wanted him, the fans wanted him. Sure. And so they would have taken him, and people are going to write, oh, I didn't want him. I thought it would be terrible. No, that's just trying to save face. I thought there was absolutely a chance. I really didn't think that the reunion with the Jets when they were 2-4 was going to happen, but teams do desperate things, and they go ahead and acquired him in that way, and thinking it's going to reclaim their season, and it's a possibility it can. But I also remember that the Pittsburgh Steelers last year that weren't as tough on defense in the secondary as they are this year. In week 3, they pretty much had an answer for Devante Adams for the most part. Jimmy Garoppolo was the quarterback. I know that's a different situation as well, but how much does a guy get when he just walks through the door, though, too?
That's a good point. And I think a lot of the questions surrounding the Steelers and how they're going to address Adams is going to be based off of injuries, mainly at outside linebackers. So, Dave, let's talk about the injury report as we do every week on the Steelers Preview podcast. Do you have those handy?
Yep.
All right. So why don't you go ahead and read the Steelers?
Okay, for the Steelers, there was some guys that were just because of rest. They came back, like TJ Watt, Larry Ogunjobi, Isaac Malu. Ogunjobi was limited, but yeah. And but Cam got another day off. He got 2 days off last week and had a pretty nice game. So I'm okay with him doing that. Some of the players that didn't practice, Cordell Patterson has not been able to come back. Herbig and Frazier, who have both been ruled out, they didn't practice. Other than them and Cam, that was it that didn't practice. Michael Pruitt was back to full for 2 days in a row. Alex Highsmith upgraded to full. Najee Harris that had the ribs that showed up on Wednesday, he was full on Thursday. Dylan Cook was coming back from IR. Today was his first practice back. They listed him as limited. But other than that, the only other person that I think, Demonte KZ, he was limited on Thursday as well. But also wide receiver Roman Wilson pops up on Thursday, limited with a hamstring. He said he just tweaked something at one point or felt something. It might have inhibited him for a little bit of time, but he doesn't think it's going to be very much. But how much you want to bet that means he's not active this week?
Yeah, unfortunately. So, Dave, did you read those? Anything pop off about the actual injury report?
Looks like Cordell Patterson's not going to be back this week. I'd be surprised if the other guys aren't. I mean, KZ's iffy, but I think Highsmith and Pruitt's going to be back. But obviously, the one that hurts the most, I think, is Frazier. That's really about it.
Okay, Bryan, what's your thoughts on the Steelers injury report?
Yeah, it's the Herbig thing keeps on lingering. He's only missed one game, but it just seems like in my mind, it feels like it was a month ago. And that's gonna hurt, but it's nice to get Highsmith back. So excellent. That's good news there, and it looks like he's back. Michael Pruitt is actually a big deal because he's a blocker, and I believe he gets in there on special teams, Dave, right?
Pruitt, I don't know that he's I'm not sure if he has.
I thought I saw him in there. I'm not sure, but I think
he is the blocker. You're right about that, Bryan.
But he's definitely a blocker, and he was brought in, and he does some good things for this team. So not a joke bringing that guy in. Now, when you're looking at
games, he has 15 special team snaps. So yeah, I would say he is getting on special teams.
Okay, and then you're throwing in the Zach Frazier injury I already talked about, and especially with that front. And there was a show I was listening to today, one of our shows, and I think it was I know what show it was. It was Shannon White was talking about how Mason McCormick and Frazier have formed a great bond together as far as working together. And one thing the Steelers have found in these injuries is Mason McCormick. I will tell you that, but Frazier and McCormick together seem like magic for years. It really seems like that's going to be a good thing. Really need to bring him back. The one thing, and I don't know if it's really on the injury report, but I'm hoping to see number 60 back, Mr. Cook, see him back soon. And I don't know if that's reflected on the injury report whatsoever.
Yeah, I said it.
His 21-day window started.
Yeah. He was limited on his first day back.
KZ's another guy to add in that mix if he's okay to go, and it seems like that's a possibility. That's good news. Cordero, it looks like he's out, and that one seems to linger as well. It's the Steelers are in next man up mode, it seems, and that's a very long list. And I know you're dealing with some guys here that on the list that stay on the list because they rested on Wednesday. And I know that's what makes the list longer, but when you're looking at those guys with a 90-man roster back in July, you're looking at guys that you're going to see more of probably because those injuries happen. You're going to have to continue to bring more guys in, and right now they're losing some guys, and they cannot afford to lose many more on that offensive line.
Yeah, the offensive line struggled. I want to update everyone. Zach Frazier's injury is reportedly going to have him out until post-bye. And so if you think about it, that would be the Jets game, the Giants game, bye week. Hopefully he's able to return for the Commanders coming out of the bye week. I believe that's week 10. But Dylan Cook, getting him back, I've precedence, Dave, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe Jeremiah Moon, prior to the Cowboys game, his 21-day window was started. He was limited, eventually was dressed for that game and did participate. So there's a chance that
the difference was, I think
Moon
Moon was on Wednesday and they waited for Cook until Thursday.
I think you're right.
So that would be the only thing I would put out there, but I wouldn't be shocked if they wait another week.
Yeah. So I want to talk about the players that are coming back, though, because I think that's equally as important as the players that are missing. So, yeah, you lose Zach Frazier, and that does suck, and that's going to really hurt and hinder the offense. I can't understate how important Alex Highsmith coming back is. Yeah. Jeremiah Moon could be a great third person. He can set the edge well. He's good. He's not the best pass rusher in terms of pure ability to bend and all that stuff. He can set the edge. He is good in run support. But getting Alex
special teams,
and he's good on special teams. Getting Alex Highsmith back is a huge boost. So, barring a setback, it looks like he's slated to return. I like the running game. Jaylen Warren getting the rust knocked off last week, even though he didn't have a great game. Remember, the Jets defense, if they have a weak spot, it's their rush defense. They actually have surrendered 124 yards per game so far this season, which is 17th in the league. The other two categories, yards per game and passing yards per game, second in the NFL in those two categories. So getting this run defense going could be what makes or breaks the Steelers in this game. And so getting a Jaylen Warren back and hopefully fully healthy, Najee Harris back from the rib injury or whatever he was labeled as early in the week. All right, let's talk about the Jets a little bit, Dave. What do we have going on over there? You're muted, Dave. Killing me, Smalls. Dave, you're muted.
I'm back. Sorry, I wasn't on the right screen. Sorry, you didn't sound like the ceiling was coming down of my house, and I was afraid you guys could hear it. So, yeah.
Let's start over. Jets
We're not even worried about Wednesday because it was estimated. Okay? Can you hear me?
Yes, okay,
we can. Because you're okay, just making sure. All right, so Thursday, cornerback Michael Carter didn't practice with a back. Cornerback DJ Reed didn't practice with a groin. That's a big one. I'll tell you that right now. That would be a big one if he doesn't play. Quarterback Aaron Rodgers was full with an ankle. Mike Williams, once again, did not practice for personal reasons. I think we know what's going on there. Tight end Tyler Conklin was limited with a hip. Edge Will McDonald was limited with a shoulder. Offensive lineman Morgan Moses limited with a knee. They don't even have a position here. Tyron Smith was limited. It was for rest, so no big deal. Linebacker Chaz Surratt with the heel was full, and wide receiver Devante Adams hamstring full. Shocking how that hamstring is suddenly just fine.
Crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And your brother did leave you a message here. I'll put it on the screen here. He said, come on, Dave, you're supposed to be a professional. So, all right. Dave, any thoughts about that injury report? You did make a couple comments as you went. I didn't know if there's anything you wanted to touch on further.
Yeah, I mean, the big one there is, like I said, is DJ Reed. If he can't go, because he is every – Coach Tomlin talked about him on Tuesday about how he doesn't get enough credit because a lot of people talk about Sauce Gardner, and really he's playing just as well.
Okay. Bryan, I know this isn't the Raiders and you're very in tune to the Raiders roster, but what about the Jets? What do you think about that?
DJ Reed is really good. Everybody else, this is not a bad injury report for the Jets. So, but that Reed thing, that I didn't realize. Anytime I heard DJ Reed, I was like, are they talking DJ Reader? Then I realized he was a cornerback. This was probably like last year. And I realized how good this guy absolutely is. So they've got a very good player in DJ Reed. And, when he teams up with Sauce Gardner, that's two really good corners. One of the best duos in the league. So if he can't go, absolutely a big deal. Everybody else, this is, to me, I'm reading something that I'm reading into it that New York's coming in very healthy. I do want to make a comment about the whole Devante Adams thing. It was cute. Somebody put this on X, formerly known as Twitter. This limping dog that all of a sudden just started running.
It's the Willy Wonka,
it's the
man.
Kevin Nash.
Yeah, but it's Willy Wonka when he's coming out with the cane, and then all of a sudden he does a front roll and goes, "Hello." It's like, that's Devante Adams at the practice this week. You know, it's crazy. You guys bring up that secondary, and I have the stats in front of me from my Wednesday Let's Ride podcast. The Jets only have 2 interceptions this season. Like, defensively, they only have 6 takeaways. Like, that's incredible for a defense that this good. They don't take the ball away with the frequency of like as the Steelers. The Steelers have to have a tremendous takeaway. I think they're tied for like 3rd in the league or something like that with I think 11. But still, yes, 11 takeaways, 7 interceptions, and 4 fumble recoveries. So we'll see. We'll see how this trends. So before we take a break, Dave, I want to go around and just say, is there one aspect of this game, whether it's a matchup, whether it's last week you said the Steelers need to not play in their fears. I think that was the direction you went last week. What is something you're looking forward to in this upcoming game?
This is very difficult because I really don't know what to expect. I mean, we all assume what the Steelers are going to do at quarterback. And what I'm looking forward to, this is something I actually have that'll be coming out at steelcurdnetwork.com at some time, whenever. Now that I'm telling Jeff, I actually have the article going, it's about, making this quarterback decision. The only reason it makes any sense for the Steelers, if they go back to Russell Wilson, which is what we're all assuming they're doing, it's all, that's going to be the ultimate con job if they don't this week. But my thing is it just that they trust him more and therefore will open up the offense a little bit more? Will we see more of a, Ben Roethlisberger type freedom to the offense because it's that veteran player that they're going to let him do that? Because if that's what they're going to do, then it makes sense that they make the change. If they're going to handcuff the offense just as much, regardless of what's going on with Wilson, if they're just going to treat him with kids' gloves as well, you might as well keep in the quarterback that could run.
Yeah, I agree. Bryan, anything to add to that, or do you have your own key to the game?
No, that's absolutely correct, and I was thinking that before Dave said it, just for the fact that if you don't open it up, then what are you doing with a guy that isn't going to have the magic legs, the Forrest Gump magic legs, like Justin Fields? But I'm really looking at that same scenario with the offensive line against the Jets front. And I know I mentioned that earlier. I think that is the key battle right here. It also is the key battle with opening up holes for Najee Harris. I know you said they give up 125 yards per game, but it's making sure that Najee keeps on going. But that offensive line is so key this week, and it's patchwork. And again, if you're dealing with the how Mike Tomlin says it takes a couple series for the new line each and every week to get together, that might not be enough time, because I'm scared of this game.
Yeah, you made that clear. You are scared of this game. We'll see. I'm anxious to hear your prediction at the end of the show. But still, for me, I think about this game, and my question is, can the Steelers beat up Aaron Rodgers? I was fortunate enough, behind enemy line segment for Let's Ride, I talked to Dan Burnham, who covers the Jets for Fans First, and he said that while the offensive line, like when you look at it in terms of who's along the line, they should be a lot better than what they are. And if you've watched the Jets, and I watched the London game against Minnesota because it was on at 9:30 in the morning, and it's the only game on. Man, Aaron Rodgers got beat up. He's been hit a lot this season. They've surrendered 16 sacks. Rodgers does not move as much as he used to, or as well as he used to. And with Alex Highsmith coming back, if he could win some one-on-one matchups, just like Nick Herbig was when he was filling in for Highsmith, I think the Steelers could really get to Rodgers and cause some damage in terms of, if he wants to hold onto the ball, which Aaron Rodgers likes to do, they could maybe get some turnovers, hurried throws, strip sacks, you name it. Dave, what do you want to add to that?
You also got to look at the Jets' schedule that they're coming off of. They did not get, or I don't know if it's by request or what, they did not get the bye coming home.
That's right.
From London. It was London.
And a short week this week.
Yeah, they got an extra day to go to Monday Night Football, but they also replaced their coach, and then they have they're coming in on the short week after Monday Night Football. So it's not a great stretch for them. But the other thing y'all got to remember, they had 2 wins. The 2 wins they had was against teams that each only have 1 win on the season. Everyone else that they've played that's like 3-3 or better, they've lost to. And they haven't put up more than 24 points in any game this year.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's get this super chat here. Dennis Pavlak gives us $2. Thank you very much, Dennis. He said a key matchup is Pickens versus Sauce Gardner. I would assume that Sauce Gardner is going to be responsible for Mr. Pickens the entire game. And so, Dave, you bring up a lot of good points there about the Jets and how everyone thought they were going to be this high-flying offense and all this. They are a tired group probably from traveling from London. They have a short week, and they're traveling again. Can the Steelers take advantage? We will see. We're going to take a quick break. What's up, Dave?
Can you do me a big favor? Because you brought up a super chat. I had a super chat from Tuesday night with the show that I had with AFL 67. I saw what you said earlier about enjoying that show where we had Roy Countryman on and play some big bro who's away on vacation. I missed a super chat, so I wanted to bring it up here if you don't mind. It was $5 into the tip jar. It was Steel Dog 88, and the question was, how often does Tomlin call defensive plays? Noticed him maybe holding a play call sheet in his hand when checking on Fitzpatrick when he was hurt. And I felt bad because I didn't bring it up. So I at least wanted to bring it up in the next show that we have with YouTube. I don't know about you guys. I'm pretty sure that the head coach has the sheet. So when he hears stuff going on, he knows what they're referring to. That does not necessarily mean that he's calling the plays. What would be more concerning is if your coordinators didn't have a sheet.
Yeah, or if Mike Tomlin had a full menu, like the as Coach KT Smith calls it, the full. I think what did he call it? It wasn't Waffle House. It was one of those like Denny's menus where you look at Andy Reid and he's got like this giant sheet. It's like the full 24-hour diner menu,
or a CVS receipt.
It could be that too. All right, yeah. So okay. Let's go ahead and we're going to take a quick break. If you're watching us live right now on any platform, we're not going anywhere. For those of us on the audio side, we'll be right back after this break talking about everything from over under to predictions, you name it. We'll be right back. All right, we are back. Thank you all for being patient and welcome back. So before we get to the over under game and before we do all that stuff, I want to get Bryan. We'll start with you as Dave is going to join us here shortly. What is your takeaway on the Steelers quarterback situation? Because that's been the hot button topic. And I know I said we were going to talk about it, but I didn't want to lead the show off with it because I feel like everyone's doing that. What's your take on that?
I actually think that there's conspiracy theories here too, Jeff. I think it's a situation where the Steelers want to go ahead and get him some action and get him into the mix, being Russell Wilson, because a promise was made back in March and they just don't want to keep him on the shelf. Now, here are some of the conspiracies. The conspiracies are, one, that they want to get him some action, make him look good, to make him available for a trade. I think that's a bunch of BS.
I agree.
But that's something that I've heard out there. The other one is they want to limit the snaps for Justin Fields to make that a 6th round pick and not a 4th. I think that's a bunch of BS as well. I'm just mentioning the conspiracy theories out there. But the big thing
Did you hear the other one?
No, what's that?
About how, what is it? David Tull. He's the one that owns Legendary, and he's like one of the most.
Thomas.
He's a Thomas Tull. He's one of the minority owner, but he's like has the largest stake outside of the Rooney family. Supposedly, he's really tight with Sierra and the Wilson family, and that he's kind of putting some pressure to that. Hey, I'm not saying that I believe it. I'm just saying that's out there, and that's a third one. So there's a third. There's the the third of your conspiracy theories.
Just like 30 years ago, Bill Cowher was dating Cordell's sister.
Well, no, I'm just joking.
I've never heard that one.
I never heard that either.
Yeah. So I remember that as it was happening, and it wasn't happening. But now I really think it's this is Mike Tomlin actually thinks that this is a good time to at least give him a start, because there's not because people are calling for it, because he doesn't care about that. But I think it's to honor a promise that was made when, and I know that sounds like a bunch of BS, but when they brought him in, go ahead, have him full healthy, stick with what he said he was going to do, and see who the best quarterback is. And I really think that's what they're doing right now, and they think they can get away with it against the Jets. I don't know if they do. But one thing that I do know is, I believe it was the Steel City Insider that was talking about 50 years ago when the Steelers were the 1974 team that they're honoring
4-1-1.
4-1-1 with Joe Gilliam. And I was watching something yesterday. It's Rocky Blyer's hosting it. It's about Door to the Dynasty or something like that. And Terry Bradshaw wanted traded. And Terry Bradshaw and Chuck Noll basically went to him and said, hey, you're the guy. We have to, because of the strike, because he crossed the picket line, we're actually giving him an opportunity to see what he can do, but we're not trading you. You want to go to the Saints, you want to go to the Falcons. We're not doing it. We believe that you're going to be the guy again. And then listening to Wex, I'm hearing that they actually brought Bradshaw back and then sat him down again. So this is a long way to tell you that I think they're just trying to see what they've got. And because they weren't blown away by Justin Fields with a few things. And I think this was also preordained when you're never taking Russell Wilson off of number 1 on the depth chart, because that never changed. And they kept on saying he's going to earn it. Justin Fields is doing everything the right way. He's saying all the right things. His quote today, I don't have it verbatim, but it was basically, I didn't play as well as I could have. And so he's saying the right things. There's so many things. I mean, the other conspiracy theory is that this knocks his price down. That's all well and good. You can say all those things. I think the bottom line with Mike Tomlin, he doesn't care about any of that stuff. All he cares about is finding the best chance to win. And he could try it now a lot easier than he can in week 12.
Fair enough. Dave, get your thoughts on the Steelers quarterback situation before we go to over-under.
Yeah, I brought it up a little bit before, and I have some more stuff going out, and I've talked about it a couple of times this week. But bottom line is it feels like Russell Wilson got the Ben Roethlisberger treatment to come to Pittsburgh. That we're going to treat you like Ben. You've won a Super Bowl. You have all these Pro Bowls. We're going to treat you like we would him. If Ben was hurt, wasn't 100%, Landry Jones comes in. It doesn't matter if Landry Jones wins every game. You could say Charlie Batch early in the career. It wouldn't matter. When Ben was ready, he was back in. That's why I say it kind of depends on your definition of the word benched. If you look at benched means you were starting and now you're not. So in other words, Landry Jones got benched when Ben Roethlisberger comes back, then I'll take that. Then I understand that you're using that. If you look at benched, meaning they weren't good enough, so we're looking for somebody else, like what they did last year with Mitch Trubisky, then I don't think this is the situation. This is a situation where the person that they feel was the guy is now back and fully ready to go. So to me, I almost make it feel, it sounds like Russell Wilson was like, hey, we're going to treat you like we treated Ben Roethlisberger as long as you show us you're the Russell Wilson that we know. Now, you still have to live up to that. So that's why, to me, part of that could be really bad, but part of that could be really good because, like I said, outside of Ben Roethlisberger, what have we seen with every other quarterback, except maybe a little bit of Mason Rudolph in there, ultra-conservative offense. So that's one thing that you could see. So I could see this completely blowing up in the Steelers' face. I could see this being something that worked great. As much as I don't know what to expect from the Jets, I don't know what to expect from the Steelers' offense. I really don't. This is like, I feel like we're going into the first game of the season where we really don't know what's happening because of all this stuff. So it's interesting. It's crazy. I get what if they know something from being at practice, because we haven't seen Russell Wilson at all. All they do is have him at practice. If they see that and they believe that that's what they have in him and they're going to utilize it in that way, then I get why they're doing what they're doing. To do it just for the sake of doing it, I know some people were like, "Oh, well, they hardly threw for any passing yards last week." They were winning by so much. How much more did they need to throw it? Honestly. When you're winning when you're winning the game by 19 points, you wouldn't need to do it. So that's a little bit. You could make this argument for either side. If you really want Wilson or you really want Fields, there's compelling arguments for both sides, and it's really whatever you want to go with. That's why I would rather sit back and say, just show me good quarterback play.
See, I don't think it's about either quarterback. It's about the head coach. I think it's Mike Tomlin. And hell, if you listen to Arthur Smith today, it sure sounded like he was a guy that would be okay if Justin Fields was still the quarterback, but that's neither here nor there. I think what Mike Tomlin is seeing the first quarterbacks right now is it reminds me of, and I know Bryan and Dave know this game show well, let's make a deal. Mm-hmm. Let's make a deal. And so Mike Tomlin is up there and he's got a quarterback and it's 4-2. And let's say that he's in today's standards. Mike, you could leave here today with X number of dollars and you go on your way and you can win a lot of games and you could make the postseason. And well, gosh darn it, you might actually win one. Or you could see what's behind door number 3. What do you want to see what's behind door number 3? And I think Mike Tomlin's like, I could go with that amount of money and I could have Justin Fields and we can win and I can live with that the way that he's playing because he can prove that he's dynamic enough to win games. But can he win me a championship? I don't know. But what's behind door number 3? That's Russell Wilson. Maybe he is the key to unlock some offensive potential we haven't seen. Maybe he is that guy, or maybe he's a goat, not that good goat. I'm talking about the game show where sometimes it was the farm animal behind the door, or a box of junk.
Rice-A-Roni. Yeah. A year's supply of Rice-A-Roni.
Exactly.
Or what was it, the Golden Girls, where it was an electric skillet? When they had that one episode of that, yeah.
I was not a Golden Girls fan, sorry.
Yeah.
So
Bryan is, that's why I asked him.
For me, I look at it and say he is at least he has to. I think in his own psyche, in his own mind, he has to see what is behind door number 3. He has to see what Russell Wilson can do. And if Russell Wilson goes out and sucks against the Jets and sucks against the Giants, I could see him saying, okay, I at least saw it. I'm going to go back to Justin Fields. And people can talk about confidence and how he might have destroyed Fields, whatever. If you listen to Justin Fields speak to the media today, he's a very polished young man. He's a professional. He handled it well. I think he'll be okay. But I think that Mike Tomlin is just looking at this and saying, could I keep with this guy? I could. But I think we could maybe be better. And so I want to give him a shot. And so in that respect, I get it. I totally get it. And I said this with Jeremy as I recorded for Friday's Let's Ride. All I want is for the Steelers to find someone, I don't give a crap who it is, that is their quarterback for the next few years so that we don't have the same arguments and discussions every offseason and in season like we have the last, I don't know, since Ben Roethlisberger retired. It's exhausting. And so if it's Russell, if he goes out and lights it up and they say, Russ, we think you got 2-3 more years left in you. Let's do this. Let's run it back. Sure. Let's do it. And if he sucks and they want to go with Justin Fields, that's fine. But my gosh, that's what I want. Like Dave said, let's get some good quarterback play. All right, let's do some super chats here. Dennis Pavlik gives another $2. With Frazier being out, I would stick with Fields. And I get that. The mobility, we'll see if it comes back and bites the Steelers in the rear end. Kyle Smith gives us $5. Does this whole thing legitimize the idea the Steelers promised Wilson to start? Fits on the report Pickett was told there would be no competition. I don't know. I never really bought into that report in the first place. But I guess it could. I really don't like talking about Kenny Pickett anymore, if I'm being honest. Thanks, Mean Joe gives us $5. He said, coaches are at practices. Exactly. We are not. Maybe they see Russ as the option to inspire passing game, trust the system.
Yes,
that's all we
thank
can,
you,
all we
Joe.
can do.
Exactly. I think
That's all
you
we
put that
can.
in there before I said it. So yes.
Yeah. All right. Y'all ready to see what's behind door number 3 with the over-under game?
I do.
Okay.
All I know is I'm impressed because it looked like Frosty the Bear dropped a Golden Child reference in the live chat. I was pretty impressed. All right, yes, let's do this.
All right. What are the updated rankings there, David?
Oh, I don't want to talk about that part of it. Last week. Well, Bryan came out on top last week. He got 5 out of 6.
You're
Nice.
kidding me. Sun shines on a dog's butt every once in a while,
The only
boys.
one you missed was Raiders points, 13.5. You took the over because they went for 2 and didn't get it. You and I did get the points. Jeff did. So other than that, you got all the rest of them right. Bryan got 5. Jeff and I each had 3.
Yes.
And when it came to picking the game stuff, although we all picked the Steelers to win, I didn't pick them to cover. So therefore, you guys each got a point there. We all took the under, and the Steelers all but hit that over just themselves, which was
When
a
your
really
2
nice
favorite
thing.
teams are playing, then you have the
Yeah,
inside
right.
track.
Yeah.
That's right.
So right now, Bryan, he made up the ground. Him and Jeff are tied overall with 21,
Ooh.
and I'm way behind with 13. Bryan also drew even with me in the game predictions, where we both have 5, where Jeff is 1 behind with 4.
All right. This is good. I like it when it's competitive.
Nice.
All right. So let's go here. You ready, Dave? Dave, are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
All right, here we go. First one. Najee Harris rushing yards. We're setting the line at 75.5. Bryan, over under.
I'm going to continue with under a Najee, but I don't think by much. I think back around the 70 average that he had going into this game.
Dave, over
Okay, I
under?
was almost ready. Did you say 70.5 or 75?
75.5.
That's what I thought. I'm like, wait, I think he changed it up on me. And Bryan, you said under, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'll get over you. I know I will. Let's hit the over.
I'm going to pretend my ship's not sinking too, Dave.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yep.
Did you answer, Dave?
I said I'll go over.
Oh, okay.
You're as bad as Bryan now, man.
Jeez, I was trying to get all the freaking bots, and it's all the
I
bots
know.
and the.
I
they're
know.
just
It's the same.
tonight.
I thought I blocked them, not just put them in timeout, but they keep coming back.
I block him every time. It's a different account every time. Anyway,
We're confusing Jeff with the Go West, the King of Wishful Thinking, and with the Golden Child reference. So
Yes.
he's
There's a floor down there, Monty. Sorry. That was
Anyways.
that's what he said.
I'm going to go slightly under for Najee Harris. I think if anyone has a big game, I think it's Jalen Moore, and I think his getting outside the edge, that's where the Jets might be a little weaker in the run game. So I'm going to go slightly under. I'm going to agree with Bryan around 70.
So
all right, here's the
this
next
is
one.
my
We
chance
did.
to make up one or fall.
There you go. Yeah. We did this with Deontay Johnson for a while. And this was just because he never had a touchdown catch. I mean, what was it, like 14 games and he didn't have a touchdown? And it was,
he went a full season without one.
George Pickens touchdowns. The line is at 0.5. Bryan, over under.
I'm actually going to go with the over on this. I think he's due.
All right, Dave.
Pickens touchdowns. You going? He's probably going to go over because he's going up against these great corners, which means you should take the under. So, I mean, I'm going to take the under because it's what you would expect to happen, and watch it's going to go over. But I'm taking the under.
I'm going under. If it's Russell Wilson, he did have really good red zone stats last year. He's going to know where his playmakers are. I'm going to go over. I think he gets 1. All right. The next one is Pat Freiermuth receptions. And I've got this line at 3.5. Bryan, over under.
I am going over on this. I think Freiermuth is going to be Russ's guy if we're seeing Russell throw.
Okay, Dave.
I'm going to go over as well. I think 4 is a good number. So the fact that it's 3.5, I'll go over.
All right. I should have gone 4.5 because we're all going over. So that's my bad. Bad line. All right.
I'd have probably gone under if you went 4.5. Yeah. I don't know.
Let's go to the next one. Pittsburgh Steelers turnovers, meaning they are turning the football over. Doesn't matter how, doesn't matter if fumble, interception. I've got the line at 1.5, Bryan, over under.
I like that one number, so I got to go under.
All right, Dave.
I'm not going to make up any ground on Bryan. I'm going under as well. I don't think they'll do it more than once.
I am too, but that's more because the Jets just don't get takeaways this year.
They average one a game, so go with the numbers, right?
So now let's go to Pittsburgh Steelers takeaways. The Steelers have had 11 takeaways this season, 7 interceptions and 4 fumble recoveries. I've got the line at 1.5. What do you think? The Jets have turned it over 7 times, 5 interceptions and 2 fumbles this season. Bryan, over under.
I don't really think Aaron Rodgers is going to give up the ball that easy. So I don't think there's going to be a whole heck of a lot of interceptions. I know 7 this year. I get it. But let's go ahead and say 1. So we've got to go with the under here.
All right, Dave.
And the number I had in my mind when you said it was 2. So when you said 1.5, I guess I'll take the over.
Yep. I'm going to go over as well. I think they get 2. I'm not sure if it's more punching dudes or from TJ Watt or what, but I think they'll get the ball on the ground. The last one here, Pittsburgh Steelers passing yards. Now the pass defense for the Jets is legitimate. 148.8 yards per game. That's the second best in the NFL. I've got it at 215.5. That's lofty, but that's what I'm thinking. Bryan, what do you think?
Hold on. I missed a digit. So
215.5.
Okay, so I've been looking at the live chat, and we've got a gentleman in here named Jersey Jet that is obviously a fan. He's calling DJ Reed out at this point.
Yeah, I saw that in there.
I don't know whether he knows something
that's unofficial, but yeah,
unofficial, but he may know something.
I would not be shocked if he's out. Yeah.
So I kind of see Russ. If he's playing, I could see him around the 230 mark. So that's over. So I'm going to go with over here. I know that's quite a bit, but we didn't expect Justin Fields to light it up a couple of weeks ago either with a lot of yards. So let's go with the over here.
All right, Dave.
And you said passing yards.
That is correct.
That's net. That means you have to take off for sacks.
Ooh,
so I'm going under.
Oh, the sacks. Yeah. I'm not changing, but
so I'm going under. For that,
I was going to go under anyways. I think Russ might not light up the world his first game this season if he's the quarterback, obviously. And so I'm going to go slightly under. And I also don't think they need to throw the ball a crazy amount to win the game. If they want to move the ball, they can do it on the ground.
I mean, seriously, what would you rather have? 145 passing yards where you win by 19 points, or 300 and some passing yards when you lose by 3.
That's true.
Because that's what we've had in 2 of the last 3 games.
All right. So now we talk about our predictions so far. As of right before this show aired, Pittsburgh Steelers were getting 2 points at home. So they are a +2. Now, if you want to bet that on the money line, the Steelers are +120. The Jets are -142 with an over-under of 39. The over-under of 39. So with that said, Bryan, what's your prediction?
39. That moved, didn't it?
39. I think it moved up from like 38 or 38.5.
Yeah.
Wow, this show has been a little therapeutic for me, but I'm going to stick with my original thought. I'm actually going to say Jets 20, Steelers 16. There's something I don't like about this game. I just don't know what it is. I'm hoping the magic of the 1974 team being in there. I'm hoping that inspires, but I don't know if it's going to. I'm hoping the gray face masks inspire and the block numbers, which we love. And man, Jeff's been calling for the gray for years, and so I'm loving it. I always call for the blocks. So, there's something I don't like about Aaron Rodgers against the Steelers. I know they do have a win against them, but they don't have many. I think they only have one, and I think that's 2009, if I'm not mistaken. Unless, 2013. I don't know if he played or not. I think Matt Flynn played in that game. I just don't like this, so I'm going to go with the Jets.
All right, Dave.
Well, yeah, with you saying because I looked earlier on what the line was, and it was, and the over under was. It was like 36.5 when I looked earlier. I thought it was, unless I looked at the wrong at the wrong thing. But that's good to see that number go up, because I'm like, I didn't really. Yeah, it's. Oh, and you said it was +2,
Mm-hmm.
and that was at DraftKings.
Yes,
I just went there right now, and now it's +1.5.
so it moved down.
So it's all over the place, but we'll go with the +2. I think that's good to do it. This game could go. I would not be shocked if it was a blowout either direction. I would not be shocked if it's a close game where either side pulls it out. I feel like I'm going with nothing here. That I could really see anything. There's so much crazy about the Jets. I mean, they haven't beat anybody, but everyone so believes in them so much. I just don't know. So I'm going to pick a score. I'll explain the score more later on. Because I just went with this because it's fun for another reason. I'm going Steelers 27-10.
All right. Very good. I like the Steelers as well. I think it is going to be a close game. The Steelers getting points at home. Yeah, take that and run. If you can get 2, put your bet in with getting 2. But I've got the Steelers winning 20-17. 20-17 is the final score. I think it's going to be close. Rodgers, Lord knows the dude's got some magic. We saw the Hail Mary throws. His receivers always do a phenomenal job there. So, I got 20-17. So there we go. We'll see how it plays out.
And notice we all have 36, 37, 37 as our point totals.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to, like I said, I'll explain why I picked that score later.
I know why. I have it figured out.
Okay.
All right, Brian, are you ready to take us down memory lane here in 90 seconds or less?
Yeah. So
you got it?
I got it. In 3, 2, and 1, go.
All right. December 10th, 1983, a new #1 song hit, and it was Say, Say, Say by Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson, 2 of the biggest stars of the 1970s. And one of the biggest stars of the 1970s made his debut in 1983, Terry Bradshaw, who it was his first time playing that year because of the elbow injury. He lasted a half, but they were up 27-0 in that game. He threw 2 touchdown passes, his final one to Calvin Sweeney, before the elbow went kaput for good. It was his last start ever for the Steelers. This helped get the Steelers to the to the playoffs, where they lost 38-10 to the eventual champions, the Los Angeles Raiders at the time. But it was a beautiful swan song on a Saturday for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Terry Bradshaw, one of the greatest of all time. And I remember being a kid there watching it. So I've got to go with this game 34-7, the Pittsburgh Steelers over the New York Jets. And it was also the final game ever at Shea Stadium.
All right. Bingo. 112. Good job, Brian. Good job. All right. So, Dave, trivia.
Yeah. All right. Before we do, just because I'm tired of the all caps in the live chat, please stop with the all caps. And no, the Steelers do not have a top 5 roster in the NFL. Their roster is probably less than average.
Why does it matter if they're all caps?
It just bothers me. It makes me think that it's spam. So, yeah.
Okay, I get that.
I usually put people in timeout for all caps because I just assume it's spam. Anyway.
Oh my gosh, man. It's just a way to type.
Yeah. It's not the right way to type, okay?
Sometimes I
I'm going to
accidentally
send you something about the engineer comedian guy that talks about how font matters, okay? It really does. So, and that includes all caps. Stop yelling at me in the live chat. Anyway. There's something very
holy cow! It's like a typing czar is now looking over.
Comes the grammar points. But now,
oh my God.
Here's the deal: the Pittsburgh Steelers are 4-2. Are we okay?
No, just
wait. See, someone's got my back. Okay, thank you.
Another Dave.
Yeah,
a DS. A DS.
The all caps. Okay, yeah. It's just no. You just no. It's just one of those pet peeves. Anyway, the Pittsburgh Steelers are 4-2. The New York Jets are 2-4, and yet the Jets are favored in Pittsburgh. Okay, the Steelers have a winning record. The Jets have a losing record. The Jets have lost to a team that the Steelers beat in the Broncos. Okay. But yet the Jets are favored in Pittsburgh. And it's like, that's kind of if it was less than 3 points, I would understand that. But the fact that the Steelers aren't even favored is just kind of curious to me. I'm like, what do they know? This is another thing that has me all confused. So I went back and I went through game by game, and this took me a long time. Let's go back all the way to the 1970s, back to the NFL merger. How many times have the Steelers, with a winning record, had a home game where they were underdogs to a team with a losing record?
Well, what was the time frame again, Dave?
Since the merger.
Since the merger, gosh.
Yeah. Obviously, we can't count this one yet because you got to go with game time spread because things could change between now and the game.
I'm going to say it's happened 5 times.
I can actually tell you that I bet you 2 of them happened in 2004. So I'm going to go ahead and say I'll go with 4 just to undercut Jeff by 1. But I could tell you 2 of them happened in October and November with the Pats and the Eagles in 2004, Ben's rookie year.
No, because those teams didn't have losing records coming in.
Oh, okay.
The team to come in has to be a team with a losing record.
Oh, yeah, then I don't.
500.
Then
losing record
4, and I don't know.
Yeah, it's actually the answer is 3. It's happened 3 times. Okay, the most recent was in 2019 when the 5-6 Cleveland Browns in Week 13 came in to face the 6-5 Pittsburgh Steelers. That was 2 weeks after the helmet swinging incident.
That was December 1st of that year.
And the Browns were favored in Pittsburgh by a point. The Steelers won 20-13. Another one happened in 2015, Week 4. What do I affectionately call that game? Thursday Night Football of Week 4 of 2015.
Oh, the Scobie game.
That's the Scobie debacle.
Mm-hmm.
The 0-3 Ravens were favored against the 2-1 Steelers by 2.5 points and ended up winning that game in overtime because of the whole Josh Scobie thing. Once again, it wasn't, and that wasn't Ben Roethlisberger. That was Michael Vick. The only other time where it's happened was in 1992 in Week 2. So it had to go early in the season, Week 2, when the 1-0 Steelers at home were underdogs to the 0-1 New York Jets, where the Jets came in as favored, even though they had a losing record. The Steelers had the winning record. The Jets were favored by 2.5 points, and the Steelers won that game 27-10.
Barry Foster went off.
That's why I picked the score that I did for this game.
All right. I love it.
But think about that. How often does that happen to even the Pittsburgh Steelers? You have a winning record, your opponent has a losing record, and they're going to be favored in your house. That's a rarity. So notice with those, especially, 92, that was what, Bill Cowher's second game?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they weren't thinking the Steelers were going to be much, and they ended up being much. And the other two it was Michael Vick filling in for Ben Roethlisberger, and then the other one was when Ben was hurt, and the Steelers were still trying to figure out what was going on at quarterback.
That's awesome. It makes you wonder, but we'll see. Seems like a trap, that's for sure. That's a sucker bet, as my buddy Pez would say, and that's why he took the Steelers, anyways. So let's finish this up with some final thoughts here, Brian. I'll let you go first.
All right, I don't know if you're going to cover this, and if you're going to cover what personnel thing, Jeff, I'll let you go ahead and go with it. But best wishes to Kevin Tate.
Oh, yes.
I wanted to go ahead and say that I had an opportunity to talk to Kevin. A lot of you that, if you listened to the show yesterday, Pump Your Brakes with Big G and Shannon White, they mentioned that Kevin went for to go ahead and get a kidney transplant. And he was, when that show was on last night around 8, 9 o'clock, he was prepping for it. And then about 12 hours later, I texted him this morning and just to see how he was doing and tell him, hey, we're rooting for you. I was shocked to have my phone ring and it'd be Kevin Tate on the other end going, "Hey, Bad, how you doing?" I'm like, what the heck? If I just went through that, I would be probably, I would hardly be speaking. And he's like, he's doing well, and he's thrilled to be able to have that surgery, and he's getting ready to be back on the show very soon. So he wanted to thank Steelers, Steel Curtain Network, wanted to thank all of us, and everybody. Keep those prayers going out for him for a good recovery, hoping that this whole thing keeps. Tate, you're one of the family here, and we are going to go ahead and continue to root for you.
Well said. Dave, final thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad that Bryan brought that up. I didn't know. I don't like to talk about everything that's going on with other people medically, but in this case, I knew that we were clear and good to go.
Yes.
So yeah, Tate, we're definitely pulling for you. I know you've been waiting for a while, so it's just so great to hear that. So anyway, closing thoughts. What do we even think about going on here? I don't know what to expect with this game. I really don't know. There's so much up in the air. So you know what? All I can do is just sit back and say, hey, let's see if the Steelers have something in mind and know what they're doing, because chances are they probably do. And we'll just sit back and see what's going on and kind of enjoy it Sunday night. I hope they give us a reason to enjoy it and to actually relax a little bit. It was kind of nice relaxing in the second half of the game last week. So I could go for more games like that, where it just is like, all right, we can, I don't have to be pulling what little hair I have left out of my head. So we'll see what happens. We'll be back here late for the post-game show regardless. So let's just enjoy it and see if the Steelers can make that push to 5-2.
Amen. Well said. Kevin Tate out there, I know he's getting better and he's listening, so prayers your way for sure. But that does it for us here on the Steelers Preview Podcast. Make sure you check out all of our content on our audio-only feed. You get Bryan's Here We Go show with Coach KT Smith every Monday, Dave's Pittsburgh Standard Time with Greg Benevent, which ran this morning, Thursday. Go check that out. It's a very good show. You can check out my Let's Ride podcast every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning. Check it all out. And also give SteelCurtainNetwork.com a try. Yeah. I've been very proud of the content. We're slated to get a new website soon. It's more visually appealing, but the content doesn't change. So it might not look the best right now, SteelCurtainNetwork.com, that is, but the content's still really good. I will stand by that forever. So SteelCurtainNetwork.com, give us a try. But that does it. Dave, why don't you send us out?
Hey.
We'll see you next week for another Steelers preview. Take it easy.
Steel Curtain Network. Get it.
Everybody else gets a little tight.